Hi friends, today I am here to talk to you about makeup and mental health. So today is going to be my first episode of my series, Makeup and Mental Health, and the subject we are going to talk about today is anxiety. I chose anxiety simply because, number one, I suffer with it. Number two, I know a lot of people that suffer with it as well. And number three, I thought maybe if I could help at least one person that watches this video, then I have done my job. I also am going to be putting on my makeup. Obviously, there's a few series going on like this. I get my inspiration from Bailey Sarian with her makeup and murder, mystery, and makeup, and Jamie French with makeup and movies. There's also been a lot of other people who have decided to get on the makeup and true crime scene, and I love all of those, but I wanted to do something a little different. And for me, two of my favorite things in life are mental health and learning about mental health and makeup. So I thought I would combine the two and start my own series. So I just want to put it out there that I do have a degree in nursing as a registered nurse, and I am going to school right now for a bachelor's in mental health. But am I a doctor? No. Am I an expert or a specialist? No. I am going to be talking about a few things that I have learned throughout my journey of education as well as my experiences. And that is really about it, as well as putting my makeup on. Now, when it comes to the makeup, I am going to be testing out a lot of Pure products today. So I have the Pure 4-in-1 Selfie Foundation. I just got this in the mail. I'm also going to be doing a Pure 4-in-1 Correcting Primer. And I have the new, or it's new to me anyway, the Pure 4-in-1 Duo Eyebrow Pencil, and the one, the only, Pure RawbeautyKristi palette. Now, I got this a couple days ago, and I have not been able to put it down. On the one side is silver, and that's where you have all of your bright colors, like bright ass colors. On the other side is gold, and that is where you have all of your neutrals and warm tones. So I'm going to be doing an easy warm look today. It's actually already almost 5 o'clock at night. I just took a shower and I am all exfoliated and ready to go. But I do not want to do something too crazy because I'm just going to be washing it off when I'm done. I will list all the other makeup that I am going to be using. Oh, one other thing I want to mention, this Pure Shake and Bake powder to cream concealer. We're trying that as well. I am very, very interested to see how that works. It is legitimately a powder. I'm not sure if you can see that. It is a powder. And when you pour it out and rub it together, it is to turn into a cream. So I'm interested to see how that works out, and let's give it a go. A little bit of a disclaimer, I am talking about mental health issues. Anxiety is the biggest subject for the day. If for any reason that triggers you or bothers you, go ahead and click off of the video. If it does not, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and let's get going. So today I am going to give some information about anxiety. Like I said, what I have learned in my education journey, as well as, whatever I have experienced myself. Now, I know that anxiety is one of those things that a lot of people go through, and it's really rather common, to be honest. It's kind of a natural thing as a human to worry and feel uneasy about certain things. But for those of you who do not suffer with it, congratulations. I'm proud of you and wish I was one of you. I think it's always good to educate ourselves, especially if there's anyone that you love or care about that has to deal with anxiety. Maybe understanding it a little better will give you a little bit more of compassion and figure out how to love that family member or person a little bit easier. I can tell you one thing. Tiffany Jenkins is a fellow recovering addict. She is someone who I find just absolutely hilarious, first of all. But second of all, she suffers with anxiety, and she's put out multiple videos where she has explained her anxiety and, you know, making it fun and happy, but also explaining to people that when someone tells you to just calm down, that can be literally one of the most panic-provoking sayings a person can say. Because if that is something we could do, believe me, we would. We would absolutely just calm down if that were the case. Unfortunately, though, it's not. So, I looked up a definition for anxiety so that way we have some actual, you know, what it is defined as. So anxiety is defined as a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Fear the unknown, you know, cannot specify the fear, and you don't always know exactly where it's coming from. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper to figure out why you are feeling that way in that moment. Can be very, very frustrating for those of us who have to suffer with it, and those of us who care about us who are stuck dealing with it as well. Now, fear is different because fear is something that is a natural response of humans, or most mammals for that matter, and it is a worry or fear of specific danger or threat. Now, with anxiety, you may not be able to see a tiger right in front of you. With fear, if you have a tiger in front of you, you're scared. You're not anxious about it. If you have a fear of tigers, one's not in front of you, but you may be anxious as hell about that. And other people may not understand what is wrong with you, what is going on with you. And that's just kind of one of the ways to explain the difference. It can be quite confusing, like I said, especially if you don't suffer with it yourself. So another few things I wanted to mention about anxiety is it has a cognitive level, a physiological level, and a behavioral level of, what should I say, like symptoms. So cognitively, it can put you in a really negative mood, and you can worry about all of the possible scenarios, what ifs, worry about possible future threats. What if my daughter gets hurt? What if I get into an accident? What if one of my family members has a heart attack? All of those things that people can get terrified of. And it's one of the biggest things is unable to predict the future and being out of control. Now, a lot of times, in my opinion, being out of control stems anxiety. Anxiety is one of those things where you are just terrified of the outcome. You are scared of the future and what is yet to come because you just don't know what that is. And it can also be related to other things, of course, like we will address in later videos. I am someone who suffers with PTSD, borderline personality, anxiety, and addiction. I'm a recovering addict, and I just want to throw that out there because I know that there are also other people who suffer like I have, and give someone hope and let them know that recovery is possible. It is extremely possible to have a life after active addiction. But anyway, anxiety can be contributed to your other mental health issues, of course. So physiologically, When you have anxiety, your heart rate goes up. You're racing. You're breathing heavy. You're sweating. You may cry. You may scream. And behaviorally, your desire to run away is extreme. You have the desire to escape, to get away from whatever it is that is causing you that anxiety. It is incredibly painful to deal with, especially if you're having something like a panic attack and you're not quite sure what you are scared of or can pinpoint it in that moment, because you're just kind of scared of multiple things. And that's very possible also. The biggest thing, like I said, is being out of control. So I wanted to give some examples of things that give me anxiety and tell you a little bit how anxiety can be different depending on your culture and where you live. So one thing that gives me anxiety is small spaces. This is kind of a control thing, I have realized. I hate being in a spot feeling like I am stuck there and I can't move. Essentially being out of control, not being able to control my environment. Another one is anyone yelling at me or any type of hostility. If I'm around anyone arguing or, talking loudly, it really brings up some issues from my past and it really freaks me out. And I wanted to give you all an example. So the other day I was at work. I was at a client's house and I was making them dinner before I left. Excuse my super shiny face. I just waxed my eyebrows. Anyway, so I'm making them dinner, and this is not the first time it's happened. It is now the second time since I have been going there. So basically what happened is they have one of those old time stoves where it's literally fire that comes. It's not like a, what's it called? A stove, a regular stovetop. It's, the fire one. I sound ignorant as hell, but you know what I mean. So I'm cooking their food. I'm making them a burger and potatoes. The potatoes are like little hash brown square potatoes. So I'm making them. Next thing you know, they're not burning, but one of the oven, the one that I was using, the little metal piece that goes on top of where the fire is in the middle, was just slightly off kilter, just slightly in the middle, or slightly off to the side, and the next thing I know, the fire alarm is going off. Now these people have a fire alarm that calls the fire department, the police department, and sends them out to the house. Now they do give you a courtesy call, and he told them that everything was fine, but of course they ended up coming. Well, anyway, the thing that gave me the most anxiety, now granted, the whole situation was kind of stressful because it's very traumatic in the moment because the alarm is awfully loud. Most fire alarms are. And so it's, a computer talking, smoke detected on level 1. And it's all loud and it's got this huge, loud, crazy noise. And the husband comes down the stairs and says, Again? Go outside. Take the pan outside. So instantly, without even thinking, my anxiety was so high through the roof. I started shaking and I started crying. Instantly started crying. I felt so embarrassed because not only, like I said, this is the second time this has happened, so it's incredibly embarrassing. It makes me feel like, wow, I'm a grown woman and I can't cook, or I'm blaming myself for this. And I did talk to my counselor later on the next day, and she did inform me that it's illogical for me to blame myself because it is obviously a sensitive alarm, and I'm not the only one that has had this happen, so there's that. But just a simple being talked to sternly in a louder voice than normal, it sent me just straight there. Sent me straight to feeling out of control, feeling embarrassed, feeling unworthy. And, it just gave me all the feels. And it was terrible. And of course, it was one of those moments where you start crying and then you just can't stop, Gotta love those moments. So yeah, that was a really fun experience and gave me anxiety. One of those things. And now I'm probably going to be anxious about any time a fire alarm goes off. Because like I said, the police department and the fire department ended up showing up as well. And they had to get my information. And it was incredibly embarrassing. Made me feel like I was in trouble. And I just hated the entire situation. Sorry about that rant, but I think I had to get it out, The next thing I wanted to talk about that gives me anxiety is the bills not being paid, losing a roof over my head, anyone that I care about and their safety. And the biggest one for me is being a failure. I am absolutely terrified that I am going to fail at all of my endeavors, which I know sounds absolutely insane, but it is legit how I feel sometimes. I've gotten a lot better. I used to not care about myself too much. I used to not treat myself too kindly. And today I can say that I love myself and I legitimately try to show myself that love as much as I possibly can, because I know that I didn't love myself for many, many years. I treated myself poorly. I talked to myself poorly. My inner voice would call me the most terrible names, tell me how terrible I was, what a piece of shit I was, how I was this and how I was that. And it's funny because, you have people out there that I'm sure are going to eventually comment on this video if anyone eventually watches it. And, haters, as they say, that will have something negative to say or be a bully of some sort. And the crazy part is, a lot of us who suffer with mental health, you can say anything you want. You can call me a bitch. You can call me every name under the sun. And I promise you, it's nothing worse than what I have said to myself at some point in time. So as much as people think or, think that they're hurting you, yes, it may be hurtful, but there's no way you can hurt me more than my own mind has hurt me in the past. Going to please my parents or make them proud or be a good mother. It's a fear of mine. And, I wish I was one of those people. Well, let me take that back. A part of me wishes I was one of those people that has not had these issues and had these experiences. But the other half of me is grateful that I've had these experiences. Because like I said in the beginning, if I'm able to help even just one person, then it was all for a reason. Okay, that liner got real big real quick, but we're just gonna ignore that because I don't really give a fuck. Okay, next thing. I wanted to talk about the different anxiety disorders that exist. And, if you are one of those people that has an anxiety disorder, maybe this can help you pinpoint what exactly it is that you go through. I know I thought it was quite interesting. And also, just to throw it out there, I know I'm probably really late and everyone that's watching probably already knows this, but this Pure 4-in-1 foundation not only squirts out, but also has a dual applicator like a concealer, because technically you are supposed to be able to use it as foundation and concealer. Let's cover up these super red, freshly waxed eyebrows. Okay, so anyway, the different types of anxiety disorders. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert. If there is more, feel free to comment in the comments anything I may have missed, anything that you feel is necessary to share or add to this video. Feel free to put it in the comments. No one is saying I'm definitely not perfect. I'm definitely not all-knowing. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there before other people try to say it. So, we have a specific phobia. Now, I feel like that one is pretty self-explanatory, but basically that means you're scared of something specific. Now, there are people that are scared of things that, in my opinion, are crazy to be scared of. Like, I've seen people that are scared of butterflies, or scared of squirrels, scared of frogs. And like, for me, those things are not scary. Do I doubt that they are terrifying to those people? Absolutely not. I am lucky. I really am not scared of most things unless it is life-threatening in some way. I'll tell you which one I have once we get to it. The next one is social anxiety. I know a lot of people that suffer with that, and I think sometimes I do as well. You know, there are times when I'd rather just isolate, be alone, be at home, and not deal with anybody or anything, and just kind of be by myself, be with the people I live with, and that's it. Let's try out this concealer. So it literally comes out as a powder. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just gonna rub it a little bit and get it under. Oh, I'm not mad at it, but I do feel like it's taking off the foundation just a little bit. Go ahead and use the foundation as well. Dual applicator. Need a little bit more coverage there, and there, there. I'm definitely going to be doing a concealer video because there are quite a few things that I want to talk about when it comes to concealer, how I do mine and how I see most beauty gurus do theirs, and the difference. But like, for me, I personally don't see the point in putting the concealer right there or putting the concealer on your chin. Sometimes I can put it on my chin. Oh no, the sponge is falling apart. Social anxiety, I think we can all understand what that is, the basics of it. Now, the next one is panic disorder. Now, there is a such thing as panic attacks, and there also is a panic disorder. Two different things. Now, don't quote me on this, but from my understanding, a panic disorder is like having frequent panic attacks on a regular basis. I honestly could not imagine and would not wish that on my worst enemy. So for any of you that suffer with that, I am so sorry. All right, the next one is agoraphobia, and that one, if I remember right, is the one where you are afraid to leave your house. You are stuck inside and just absolutely terrified of the outside world and are not even willing to risk it. Obviously, that is one of the debilitating ones. Like I mentioned before, there's also panic attacks, and OCD is a form of anxiety as well. And the last one that I feel is the most common, I could be wrong, maybe I feel that way because it's what I suffer from, but it's generalized anxiety. So basically, it means that it's not necessarily one thing, it can be multiple things that send me into panic, fear, worry, uneasiness, just not really knowing what to do, how to handle things. Now, granted, I have been going to therapy for years now. I have learned many different coping skills and ways to deal with this so much better than I used to. Before I really knew everything that I suffered from, I just thought I was crazy. I thought I was losing my freaking mind. And I thought that I was alone in all this. And that, you know, I had no way of explaining what I was going through to anybody. I tried to go to many therapists throughout the years. And whatever location I would go to, they would end up switching the counselors, switching the therapists, and so I would get close to one person and then they would go away. And that happened multiple times, and I'll tell you, when you go to therapy and you share your life with someone, it sure as hell is not easy. And it doesn't make you want to share your life with multiple people. You know, once you get close to someone and you have that connection, that you feel like they are helping you and you are getting benefits out of the therapy, you don't want to change who you're going to. It just, you know, you feel like you are where you're supposed to be. But I do want to say, it doesn't mean the feelings go away. It doesn't mean that we're still going to have times of suffering, and we're still going to have times where we feel incredibly anxious, incredibly scared, incredibly out of control, and not really sure what to do with ourselves. Now, it is possible for anxiety to be a good thing. A little bit of anxiety can be good. If you are anxious about taking a test that you are about to take, but you put in your all, you studied your ass off, and you go in and you pass it, that was probably good anxiety because it helped you study and pass it. Now, if you have extreme, severe, and chronic anxiety, that's when you know that it is becoming a little bit more. There's just a couple more points I wanted to touch on before I end this video. And that is the different anxieties that we would have if we lived in other cultures. Now, I know this blush is looking crazy, but we're going to fix it, so don't worry. So far, I'm really liking these Pure products. I will give you a little bit more of a rundown of how I feel about everything once I am done discussing our main topic. So I just want to throw it out there. Some things I thought was very interesting. So if we lived in Nigeria, one of their common anxieties is maintaining a large family, being bewitched in their dreams, and having bugs or worms crawl into their brain when they're sleeping at night. Now, In no way am I making fun of these fears or anxieties that these other people deal with and face. I am just simply giving an example of how different things can be depending on where you live. Obviously, if we lived in a society that was not so well-to-do, we would probably be worried about if we were going to eat the next day, if we were going to have any water supply. You know, we just so happen to have, you know, how do you say, I can't think of what I'm trying to say. Good, you know, good world problems, like pretty decent opportunities, I must say. Oh, wow, I really like this. And the other one I just thought was kind of funny, just to kind of end this subject on more of a lighter tune, was in China and Southeast Asia, they are anxious and fearful that their penis is going to retract back into their body. I thought that was, I mean, I can't help it. I did think that that was kind of funny. And that's not me making fun of it. It's just, you know, something that's so off from what we would worry about, you know? It's just a third world country problem. There we go. A third world country fear or thought. I could make this video 17 hours long and go on and on and on and on and on with all the big health terms and, you know, explain it until I'm blue in the face. But I kind of just wanted to put my experience in it, and mostly the point of this video is to show people that you're not alone. There is help out there. If you are an anxious person or you in any way feel like the world would be better off without you, there is help out there. There are suicide hotlines, there are websites, there are 24-hour toll-free numbers that you can call that are willing to give you help. And if nothing else, you can go to the emergency room. It is perfectly okay to go to the emergency room and get the help that you feel you need, rather than sit there and suffer alone. All right, so if any of you are still watching, I appreciate it so much. And now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the makeup. I am pretty impressed so far. I am not too sure how I feel about the powder to cream concealer. I feel like it might be slightly gimmicky, but I feel like I'll have to use it a couple times before I can really say and really know how I feel about it. The eyebrow pencil, I'm loving. Absolutely loving. The primer was pretty good. It felt really moisturizing. Of course, I love the palette. I love RawbeautyKristi. She is one of my favorite YouTubers. And she even made a video a little while back talking about how she suffers from anxiety. And she didn't necessarily call it that. She just said that she takes everything to the extreme. She worries about things that 9 times out of 10 never happen. When she was on a plane once, she thought she was going down and that was it, that she was going to die. And I think a lot of us can relate. So a little bit more about this series. I do plan on talking about multiple subjects. Of course, would love feedback. So if there's anything in particular you would like for me to talk about, please put it in the comments. I'm very interested to hear your guys' side of things, how you feel, what your opinion of anxiety is, if you suffer, if you don't, and you know, just your opinion on this video in general. Do you like this idea of doing makeup and mental health? I personally love the idea. I mean, I love watching true crime and makeup. I love watching the movies in makeup, even though she's not going to do her makeup anymore. And I just thought that this would be, you know, slightly educational and just help people know that they don't have to suffer alone. You're not alone in any of this. So, for anybody who feels that way, here you go. Now you know. I'm sure there's a big ass club of us that feel this way. If you are still watching, thank you so much for watching this first episode. Granted, my videos are going to get better as they go on. This is the first episode of the series, and if this eventually becomes successful, then obviously there's going to be many episodes to come. There probably will be in general because I enjoy it. So if I'm pleasing myself, then I guess that's at least one person, right? So please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope that you all have a great night, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.